Well, hello, everyone. Welcome. We are here with our Friday 15, our first one of September. So what is a Friday 15, you ask? It's every Friday at 12 p.m. Central Time. We go ahead, we take 15, sometimes 20 minutes to answer your questions about the travel industry that you've submitted on our website. If you do have any questions or if you want to watch past episodes, please go to hostagencyreviews.com/Friday15. We also bring on many special guests to help answer your questions. And this week, I am so excited to welcome Carolyn from KHM Travel. Welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for joining us. Carolyn and I were just talking, and not only is Carolyn the education manager, but she's also an advisor herself. So I am beyond elated to ask you these questions that we have coming up. Yeah, I'm Canadian. It's Friday. I get very excited. So
that's a U.S. thing too. We get excited on Friday.
It's North American. I love it. I love it. Before I jump into the first question, just a reminder, and Abby's going to post these for you in the comments. We have Hardwired, which is our tech week, coming up in about 5 weeks to learn more about travel technology specific to travel advisors. Please go and register. It is absolutely complimentary for you to join us. It is 4 days long, so please go ahead. We also have a call for Host Week speakers. So our next event that comes up at the end of January, if you think that you would be great for an educational spot, please apply. We will also put that link into the comments as well. But without further ado, let's jump into the first question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Amazing. Okay, great question here. So question one, I understand that some suppliers don't pay the host, and we're talking paying commissions, until after the travel date. But I found that some suppliers pay the month of sale or after final payment is due. Every supplier is a little bit different. I also know some host agencies pay out to their agents either weekly, bi-monthly, or monthly. I'm curious to know what the industry standard is for how soon after receipt of commission from the supplier that a host agency would then go and pay the independent advisor.
So great question. There actually isn't an industry standard to my knowledge. It really is dependent on your host or your brick and mortar or wherever it is that you're working. So essentially, in most cases, and this is the case for KHM, we pay after travel. And it's not just after travel, but it's when that commission is received from the supplier. It goes into our commission system. As long as your booking is in our CRM and that commission payment can be matched up, then you are paid. We pay on a weekly basis. I know there's some hosts out there that pay bi-weekly. It really just depends on the host. And a lot of times it's dependent on the size of their team to handle the commissions coming in. That is a big job. And it comes in differently depending on the supplier. So the team in place will help determine how quickly you can get that commission. I think it's really important to note that there are some exceptions to that rule. So for example, travel protection, which is non-refundable, can, again, dependent on your host, be paid out sooner because they're not going to have the potential to recall. So consider the fact that you might have a client that is planning to travel and then at the last moment cannot travel and that booking is canceled and that commission is recalled. No one likes to give back money. They're going to come back and ask for that money. So imagine the host needing to get that money from you and then give it back to the supplier. So that's the reasoning why, to my knowledge, most host agencies will wait until after travel to make that payout, even though they might have received it before the client traveled.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think coming from I've come from the supplier side, and where as a supplier, we paid out commission either after that client actually traveled. And that was very typical. It was the ideal time was within 30 days after the client travels, or when it is 100% non-refundable. And again, that is exactly to align with exactly what you said, Carolyn. It was purely because of the recall. If someone had to cancel for whatever reason, and every supplier has different cancellation policies. So a lot of them align with that. I do know, and KHM is really great. Like you pay out weekly, which is kind of like the height of paying out on very, very regular basis. But for everyone listening, if you actually go into the host agency reviews directories, you will actually see every single host agency outlines how often they pay out commissions, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. So if that is really important to you, definitely take a look at the profiles. We're also going to link 2 articles that we have around commissions. One is the travel agent commissions explained in general. And Carolyn, you gave like a really great high level overview of like, this is how it works. Right? This is when we get paid. This is why we wait until this time. So to understand commissions in general, we're going to link that article for you. And then we also have an article about different commission plans and differences between different hosts. So we'll link that for you all as well to go check out.
At KHM, we also have a kind of a quick chart for our agents to know, okay, this is when you should start to see the commission come in based on the supplier. So it really does help with budgeting. My rule of thumb personally is I feel like I give myself 60 to 90 days. And if I'm not seeing it, then I've probably entered it wrong, or that's when I'm doing my own follow-up. So 60 to 90 days, it helps me budget for that money. I'm not budgeting for it too soon.
I think that's incredibly smart because, things happen, things get missed. The great thing is now is that there is some really great commission tracking technology. The CRMs that are being built or being used are really helping not only the host, but the advisors to be able to see, okay, this is when travel's happening. This is when I should expect commission, so that both the host and the advisors have a better idea of what should be happening and when it should be happening. So definitely a reason to attend Hardwired. I know, super cute name. I didn't come up with it. Jen on our team came up with it. If anyone wants to give a shout out to her, I
think that's fantastic.
Right? But yeah, thank you, Carolyn. That was awesome. So you ready to roll into the second question?
I am, and this is one of my favorite topics.
Oh, okay, good. Because actually, this is one of my favorite topics. Excited to hear what you have to say. So I would love to have, this is from Christina. I would love to have a continued conversation about how to execute charging fees when different trips take such a different amount of time. Some people know what they want, some don't. So Christina says she's been experimenting with like an hourly rate. And she said that really hasn't been working. She said, I haven't gotten a lot of fees in the last 6 months that I've been working on this. I have had some great success, but I've also wasted a ton of time with people shopping me and taking my itinerary and booking it elsewhere to maybe save $20, specifically FIT trips. So I've got to take control of my time and energy. Couldn't agree with you more, Christina. But I have no idea how to actually implement fees and what a reasonable rate or package is. And I don't want to scare people off who could become great clients.
Oh gosh, the fee question.
Yeah.
So I think I would like to start with like, why would you charge a fee in the first place, right? And I think Christina's concerns are correct, right? It could get rid of those tire kickers or those that are just information seekers. That's one reason. It does help with a steady stream of income. So when you have those fees constantly coming in, and we've got some agents at KHM where this is truly part of their business. It's not their business, but it is an income source for them. And then it also, and this is where I really think you need to determine whether or not you should charge a fee, is your value and your experience and your knowledge. If you're going to charge a fee, I feel like you need to stand behind that fee. And you need to be very clear as to what that person's going to get for that fee, and not oversell yourself. So in some cases, you might not just be ready for this. The client may be thinking they should get more for their fee that you're not ready to give, or that you don't know yet. So that knowledge to me is the cornerstone of fees. You have to be transparent about what they're going to get. 3 ideas based on your conversation, 2 ideas, 1 destination, 3 options in each destination. So be very, very clear about it. I don't know so much, and it was Christina, right, that I would be charging by the hour When I have charged fees, I've had a conversation, and then I go back and I think about, what did they tell me? How difficult is this going to be? What do I know already versus what do I need to learn? Do I have a partner already in place in my mind that I think I can work with to help me? And ultimately, what do I think that's worth? I don't go by the hour. I go by kind of a flat fee. In the past, I've done this for Disney trips and I've done this for FIT Europe. Beyond that, all-inclusives, cruises, things like that, I personally don't charge for those types of trips. I charge for the ones that truly are a little bit more labor intensive. So that's where I would start. Think about overall what you feel like you need, but the conversation is key. So if you're not having a conversation, you need to start there. I also want you to think about, before you even consider the charging the fee, are you qualifying the client well enough? Is that conversation fruitful, and is it providing you with the information you need in order for the person to feel like you are the right person for them? So one of the ways I do this is any point of contact, reach out, text, Facebook message, or anything, I'm immediately asking for an email. And these potential clients get a standard template letter from me. And that template says, my name is Carolyn Orff. I've been in the business for 18 years. These are the things that I booked over the years and that I truly love to book. This is how I am paid. And this is what you can expect from me. This is what I need from you. And I run through all of it. What I have found is people feel a lot of times that they need to charge fees because they're not getting paid. But a lot of times people don't know how we're paid to begin with. They think somewhere out there someone's paying us. And they're not. They're not unless we book and travel. Yet the client has no idea that's actually how it works. So we might have these people that are information gatherers and tire seekers or tire kickers that wouldn't necessarily be those people if they knew how we got paid in the first place. Does that make sense? So I think I would actually, if you're not sending that initial letter already, I would try that approach first before I started to try to implement a service fee, especially if it seems like it's not going over so well.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful advice, is to take a step back. And to your point about, how a lot of your KHM advisors, like, fees are a significant, like, not are a portion of their income. From our annual report last year, we actually found, so we had over 2,000 advisors respond last year. And on average, 20% of a hosted advisor's income was accounted for by the fees. That's significant. So Christina, definitely something to consider, and take it one step at a time. You don't need to implement something today. But that is something to consider. And we'll have the new report coming out in November, which KHM was a huge supporter of. You definitely got a lot of your advisors to respond as well. But when that's 20% of your income, my advisor charges me a fee, and I don't even think twice about it.
Right.
I know the work that she's doing for me, and I understand it. And everyone's a little bit different. The great thing about also being part of a host is that you have this community of advisors where you can ask what they do, how they do it, what's resonated really well, and what hasn't worked for them. I do agree, Carolyn, I've never really heard of charging an hourly rate. So perhaps, Christina, that's why that's not working as well. I've heard of charging a flat fee depending on the complexity of what you're booking. I've also heard of charging a fee and then waiving the fee if the client ends up making the booking at the end of the day. So there's definitely a few different ways, but I wouldn't sleep on 20% of your income. That's the average across over 2,000 advisors. So something definitely.
Make sure you can support it. You have to be able to back it up. Consider like someone that you think is going to come in and fix your toilet, a plumber, right? And they say $75 to fix it. And the guy comes in and he doesn't even know what a toilet looks like, and yet he's still charging you this money and walks out and says, I can't fix it. He needs to be able to stand behind his $75. You can't just walk in and charge that. You really have to know what you're doing. The last two things I would say is, number one, make sure that charging fees is allowed in your state, and that you understand how to go about that if it is. And the second one is really think about the platform you're using. It doesn't have to be a complicated platform, but I do feel like it needs to be something where there's an accounting at the end of the day. Venmo, guys, look, Venmo was not put in place to run businesses. It was to share expenses for pizza, beer, and gas. So yet many people use this as a business platform now, and it makes me very nervous. So finding a platform, and I use PayPal, right? Because I can download a spreadsheet at the end of the year for my accountant to say, here's what I received in service fees. And then I'm paying the taxes on that. So something that's got some sort of accounting behind it so that you are not scrambling during tax season to figure out, let me go through all my Venmo things to see who paid a service fee.
I completely agree. We don't even have Venmo in Canada. So for all the Canadian advisors, can't use it even if we wanted to.
It's just for pizza, beer, and gas, and to send your kids money.
I couldn't agree with you more. All right. Final question.
Yes.
All right. This is a question we get a lot. So I always love to hear perspectives from different hosts. So this is great. This one just got submitted as well last week. Is what is the process of switching host agencies? I'm unsure if my current one is a good fit, but I do have trips booked using them, and I'm unsure if I can bring them to the new host.
So first, again, there are great hosts out there. And believe it or not, a lot of us are friends. So the first thing I would suggest is to sit back and really reflect on what it is your current host is providing to you and what it is you're looking for. And really determine if switching or dual hosting is something you need to do or if you're just curious. If you're just curious, Host Agency Reviews is the place to go to really figure that out. But I don't encourage people to just switch because they think the grass is greener on the other side. You really have to think about what it is you feel like you're missing. So if you do determine that a different host is a better fit, the first thing you need to do is go back to your contract or to your original host and determine if you're allowed to dual host. At KHM, you are allowed to dual host. It's going to help bring your previous bookings to a conclusion because those aren't moving anywhere. And then you can begin to book immediately with your new host credentials. So you're going to kind of, balance for a while, but it all comes down to what is allowed in those contracts that you're signing when you join each individual host. So read the fine print, ask those important questions, and, just remember that everyone has different resources, commission opportunities. So look at all of it kind of in a pro-con list and determine if moving really is the best business decision for you. And make sure that you're filling a void, that you're not just flip-flopping. Are you filling a void, and what void are you filling? So it can be done. It's done all the time at KHM. I think other hosts allow it as well, but just understand what the process is like for not only most bookings don't move over, but eventually things like your training that has accumulated and things like that. A lot of times those can be moved over.
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually, you touched on many of the points already, but we're going to link our blog to 5 main things you want to consider when you are switching a host. So these are considerations, things to think about. And Carolyn, honestly, you pretty much hit on everything, which is great. We just go into a little bit more detail. So if you have the time, definitely take a read. We'll link that in the comments. You can be part of more than one host. We always say, number one, always go and read that contract and understand. Also, on Host Agency Review's website, you can submit questions to different hosts. So you can reach out directly if you want to learn a little bit more, understand more about what that specific host does beyond their profile, if there's more that you need to know. But take your time. If you're already a member of a host, right, and there's something specific you're looking for, take your time, do your research before switching. Because Carolyn, like you just said, you have bookings at one, you want to start booking with another. There is a process to doing that. So you want to take care when doing that. We also have another article I'm going to link, which is about what you should be asking your new potential host. So it kind of goes through different questions about what to consider asking them. So you can copy and paste those if that's helpful to you. So we'll link that for everyone as well. So before we leave you, Carolyn, I cannot thank you enough. And thank you to everyone who submitted these questions, because these are fantastic questions. I actually, in my inbox on my other screen, already see more questions being submitted. So I'm hoping those of you listening have been submitting more. But what we're going to do before I let Carolyn go is we are going to link KHM Travel's profile so that you can go look directly at KHM. If you have questions, you can submit them directly on their profile to them, and they get back to you incredibly fast. We're also going to link directly to KHM Travel's website as well, if you'd like to go check them out. What do we have coming up for the rest of the month? Who's joining us? We have some wonderful hosts. We have next week, we have Gifted Travel Network. On September 19th, Lavarte Travel is coming back to join us. And on September 26th, to close out the month and the quarter, we have Nexion. So one quick reminder to please submit your questions for the Friday 15 at hostagencyreviews.com/Friday15. And also do not forget to check out Hardwired, our wonderful travel agency tech week that is coming up in 5 weeks. Carolyn, thank you so much again.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, this is such a good way to end the week.
I know. I think the sun is shining. I'm already in sweater weather here.
I know. Oh my, have you seen that? The sweater weather from
absolutely. Yep. Today was the first day. I'm like, what is this? It's September 5th. I'm not ready for sweater weather.
I do kind of like sweater weather. I am a fan, but I am Canadian after. Well, I mean, you live in Denver, you know.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you all next week. Bye, everybody.